Hello, everybody. Welcome to your everyday math lesson for 7.11. So today we are going to be working on, this is again, 5th grade, everyday math, 711 student workbook. We're going to be on page 264 and 265 in your volume 2 workbook today. So today we're going to start with a little bit of mental math and a little bit of quick thinking. And we're going to talk a little bit about how we did our lesson yesterday. So yesterday, we worked on, for 710, we looked at some in and out boxes. We looked at some data. We graphed some data. And then we looked at some rules that we can use to talk about how they relate to one another. So looking at this one right here, we're going to look at this little graph that I have written out right here for you. We need to figure out how these numbers and how my in data matches the out data. So what I need you to do right now is I want you to look at this box. Really study it for a second. So if in and out start with 0, 0, can't find a rule for that. 1, 6, 2 and 12, 3 and 18. What rule could I use for this in and out data? What rule could I use to compare these numbers that will work for all options? All right, if I look at this data, I could say my rule is add 5 because 1 plus 5 equals 6, right? But does that work for all of them? 2 plus 5 equal 12? Nope. That doesn't work. Okay, how else could I get to 6? Times 6. 1 times 6 equals 6. Does it work for the rest of them? Let's see. 2 times 6, does that equal 12? Yes. Let's check again. 3 times 6, does that equal 18? Yeah. So that is my rule for this set of boxes. Multiply by 6. Let's see if you can do this next one. I think it's still a little bit easy. See if you can find the rule for this set of numbers. All right, 5 and 1, let's see, subtract 4, but 0 to 0, I can't do that. That doesn't work. What if I divide by 5? 5 divided by 5 is 1. 10 divided by 5 is 2. And 15 divided by 5 is 3. So my answer for that one would be divide by 5. All right. Let's see if you can find this one, Smarty Pantses is. Look at this group of numbers. See if you can find the rule. Go. This one is a little bit tricky. Okay. This one you have two options. 1/3, I can divide by 1/3 to get to 1. 2/3 divided by 1/3 is 2. So that is an option. Or I can multiply by 3. Either of those would be the right answer. I know this one was a little bit tricky. It's a little bit confusing and it's a little hard, and that's okay. The rule for this one really is to multiply by 3. Or think about when we divide by a fraction. What do we do, guys? Keep, change, flip. Basically, it's the same thing, right? Awesome. So that is your rule that you're going to use for that one. So finding the rules can be a little tricky, but it also can be a little easy if you really think it through, right? So we are going to do a little bit of more information. So if I'm on an airplane and we go 480 miles per hour, how many miles do I go per minute? How many miles do I go per minute? What am I going to do with that? All right. You are actually going to go ahead and you're going to divide. If I know 1 hour has 60 minutes, that means that I'm going to take this total amount and I'm going to divide it by 60 to figure out how many miles I go per minute. So I want you to do the math. What is 480 divided by 60? Find that answer. Go. All right, 480 divided by 60. I know 6 times 8 is 48. So I know that 60 times 8 is 480. With 0 left over. So my answer is 8 miles per minute. Awesome. 8 miles per minute. So with that in mind, now we're going to be in our math workbook, page 264. So my rule for this one is I'm going to do time in minutes times what? How many miles per minute do we go? Well, we're going to multiply it by 8. And that's going to equal my distance in miles. So take your number of minutes, multiply it by 8, and that's how many miles you went. So if I went in just 1 minute, that means I went 8 miles. 2 minutes, I flew 16. 3 minutes, I flew 24. 4 minutes, I flew 32. 5 minutes, okay, well, what's 5 times 8? 40. I want you to tell me how many miles would I fly in 9 minutes? Okay, I'm going to multiply by 8. So 9 times 8 is 72. Awesome. Number 2, it says plot the ordered pairs on the coordinate grid on page 265. So I have to write my ordered pairs. 0, 0, 1, 8, 2, 16. I'm going to pause the video here. I want you to finish the ordered pairs and then come back and check. So after you have your ordered pairs written, you may hit continue. Okay, so this should be what you have for your ordered pairs. Now it's time to actually graph them. So I'm going to go to page 265, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to find these ordered pairs. So I'm going to zoom out so you can see my page a little bit more. So maybe you can see kind of what I'm doing over here as well. Hold on just a second. There we go. All right, so my first ordered pair is 0, 0. Done. Okay. My next ordered pair is 1, 8. Okay, so I know that going up, each line is counting by 2s. So 2, 4, 6, 8. So 1, 8 would be right here. 2, 16. Okay, so 10, 12, 14, 16. 3, 24. 22, 24. 4, 32. 5, 40. And then the next one we did was 9, 72. All right, now I'm going to take just my plain whiteboard. I'm just going to use my whiteboard to draw the line. You can use a straight edge. You can use a ruler. You can use anything that you have that is a straight edge. I mean, you can use a piece of paper. It's okay. And I'm going to draw my line as straight as you can. So the way that I do that is I kind of just line up my pieces like that a little bit. Let's see, about there. Here we go. Okay, there you go. Notice that all of my points are exactly on that line, right? Great. Now, let's go to number 2. It says, plot the ordered pairs. We did that. Done. check. It says use your graph to answer the questions below. How far did the plane travel in 2.5 minutes? Okay, so this is 2 minutes and 3 minutes. So 2.5 minutes would be right in the middle between the two, right? So 2.5 minutes is about here. About right here. So if I follow that up until it hits the line, how many miles did it go? So notice that I hit my green line that I just drew. Go all the way over, and I see that it went 20 miles. So your answer for number 3 should be 20 miles. All right. Number 4. About how far did the plane travel in 5 minutes, 24 seconds? Notice that right next to that, it says 5 2/5. Okay. Notice that each of this is separated into fifths, right? 1/5, 2/5, 3/5, 4/6, 5/6, right? So 5 2/5 would be right here. I'm going to follow that line straight up to where it touches my green line. Then follow that green line straight, or that line straight over where they touch. All right, 42, 44. It went about 44 miles, okay? 44 miles. See how tricky that can be? When you're using data on a graph, that's why it's very important that you draw a straight line. And that's why it's very important that you really pay attention, because it says about. That means it's close to. For this one, if you had told me 43 or 45, I probably would still give it to you. Okay? Because it's close to 44. Let's look at the next one. It says, about how long did it take the plane to travel 60 miles? Okay, so I'm going to go up here to 60, and I'm going to do it the opposite way. I'm going to follow the 60 line all the way across, and I see that it hits right here. I'm going to follow that line all the way down. We're about right here. Now, I learned from this one that my numbers between 5 and 6 is cut into fifths. So technically, this is 7 1/5, 7 2/5 of a minute. So your answer for this one would be 7 2/5 of a minute. I want to see if you can do the same thing for 64 miles. So we're going to go 64 miles, 62, 64. Follow it straight across to here. How long did it take to go 64 miles? This is easy. It's a whole number. Follow that straight down, and I see that it took 8 minutes. 8 minutes. All right, awesome job. Number 7, it says, if you want to know how far the plane traveled in 15 minutes, would you use the table rule or the graph, and why? Well, I can't use the graph because my graph only shows to 10 minutes, right? So I would have to use the table. So I would use the table because my graph only goes to 10 minutes. Now, technically, would I use the table or would I use the rule? Well, my table, we didn't write it for 15 either, did we? So technically, we're going to use the rule. Okay. Remember, I know that my rule is multiply by 8. That's a lot easier than going here and counting, adding 1 to this one and adding 8 to this one. Adding 1, adding 8. It's a lot easier to go ahead and just multiply by 8, right? Awesome. So that's what we're going to do. That is how you're going to use a graph. We do have a little bit more practice, so you go ahead and turn to page 266. If you need time to write this down, pause the video right now, write this down, and then you can hit continue. Okay? I'm not going to pause it for you. You can pause it. Page 266. Here we go. It says for problems number 1 and 2, use the rule to complete each table. Write the ordered pairs. Create a line graph. And answer the questions. All right. So use the rule. Create a graph. Write the ordered pairs. Make a graph. Answer questions. All right. Number of hours worked. My rule is times 8. All right. 1 times 8. 8. 2 times 8. 16. 3 times 8. 24. 7 times 8. 56. Now we're going backwards. So I can't multiply by 8. I need to divide by 8. So 40 divided by 8 is 5. All right. I want you to go ahead, write your ordered pairs, and graph your picture below. Do not answer the questions yet. Write the ordered pairs and graph your picture. When you are done, hit continue. All right, these are your ordered pairs, and this is what your graph should look like. 1, 8, 2, 16, 3, 24, 5, 40, and 7, 56. Your line should look exactly like mine. Now let's look at this question. It says, plot a point and show Andy's earnings for 5.5 hours. So I know 5.5 hours is right between 5 and 6. So that's what I'm going to do is I'm going to go right between 5 and 6. I'm going to follow that all the way up, and I'm going to see where it hits that green line. For 5.5 hours, he's going to earn this much money. How much money, right here, did Andy earn in 5.5 hours? All right, 5.5 hours right here is going to be 42, 44. It will be $44. Awesome. And finally, my last little question of the day. Here we go. It says that Frank types 45 words per minute. So that means that my rule is going to be whatever this is times 45, right? 1 times 45 is 45. 2 times 45 is 90. 3 times 45. All right, I know 3 times 5 is 15. Carry my 1, 12, 13, 135. All right, we need to divide. Or I can just see if I can figure it out. 225. I'm going to divide 225 divided by 45. Well, let's try 5. 5 times 45. I know 5 times 5 is 25. Carry my 2. 5 times 4 is 20 plus 2 is 22. So my answer would be 5. And then finally, 6 times 45. 6 times 5 is 30. Carry my 3. 6 times 4 is 24. 25, 26, 27. So 270. All right. Write your ordered pairs and graph your picture below. Go. When you're done, hit continue. All right, these are your ordered pairs, and this is what your chart should look like. Notice this one was a little more challenging, right? I know that it's not split up exactly perfect, so be careful with that. It says plot a data point to show how many words Frank could type in 4 minutes. Okay, 4 minutes. Oh, it's right here on this line. Ooh, so how many words could he type in 4 minutes? All right, if I follow that line straight across for 4 minutes, I see that it is about 180 words. Absolutely. And then finally, it says about how long would it take Frank to type 200 words? So I'm going to go right here to where it says 200, and then I'm going to go straight down. Oh, right between the 4 and the 5. About how many minutes is that? All right, looking right there, I see that that is really close to 4 2/5 minutes. If you said 4.5 minutes, I would accept that as well. I think it's close to 4.5. I would take that too. Absolutely. All right, that is how we use data on the graph. That is why it's super important that when you're drawing those lines, you are very accurate with them. Okay? Be very careful with them, okay, guys? All right. Have a great day, and I will see you later. Bye.